All right, here we go. Today want to talk about where does marketing start in your story. People always say, "Oh, I got this idea. My story is going to be hot," and they never really add on the last part of "you're going to love it" or "this is why you will enjoy it," or even "this is why I need to tell you the story," or "this is what you'll get from it." All of those are elements that help you, that help make marketing your story easier. When people tell me, people ask me, how do I think of a story? Well, I always accept that I'm a fan first. I recognized my connection to being a fan very early when I was in middle school, 7th, 8th grade. I remember going to visit my cousin Greg in New York. I stayed summers with them, and we used to go down to 42nd Street. I don't even think we could get in the movie theaters, okay? But we used to go down to 42nd Street, and mind you, we may have gotten in a few, right? But we didn't get into all of the movies that we wanted to see. And sometimes we saw movies that was really, really good down there on 42nd Street, but not many, even you'd be surprised, in New York, even though people can take the train and go anywhere in the 5 boroughs within a 3 to 4 block walking radius, a lot of people don't leave their block. A lot of people don't go downtown, and I mean, this is like middle school. We was taking it for 50 cents, 75 cents, however much the tokens were, and even back then, hopping the train was big. I don't even think I hopped the train, but people could travel for free, they didn't do it. So we got with this theater on 148th Street, Broadway, shout out. Now it's a grocery store. Might be something else now because it's been regentrified, but it used to be the Nova movie theater. And we used to come up and tell the owner, yo, we saw this movie. We saw Vice Squad. We saw Miss 45. Yo, you should bring this movie up to your theater. And a couple of times he listened to us. So here I am as a middle school student suggesting movies to a theater. Well, why do I say that? Well, we didn't just say the name of the movie, but we actually said, yo, this is why it's good. We enjoyed the story. We got something from it. 70s movies, 80s movies, because this had to be like 79, 78. So we was off on 70 movies, right? It's still the 70s. So those movies was really exploitation based, meaning they took a concept and they exploited it. They didn't give it some artsy name. They didn't just say the night of awakening. They said, yo, Miss 45, Death Wish. The names of the movies was straight to the point. And movies were big, yeah, but they're not as big as they are now. You wasn't bankrolling millions of dollars, hundreds of $1 million on an opening weekend. They weren't getting the top billing on the Today Show. It wasn't a newspaper headline. Movies were big, sure, but some movies you get a couple of movies a month. You didn't get a movie a week, a blockbuster every week. Black Panther made $200 million in February. That's an off weekend. Movies are number one in the theaters on 4th of July in cities like Miami and Virginia Beach, where there's a lot of outdoor activities. Movies are dominating. So back in those days, movies weren't dominating. People was like, well, I'll go on the week. I have things to do on the weekend that I like to do that are better than the movies. Now, what can you think? People are taking off work to go see Infinity Wars, go see these big Hollywood movies, IMAX, paying $15, $20. China, I went to China, they charge $25. You go here, they got dinner and a movie in the theaters, $25. So all of that to say, marketing is very important. People want, and this is just movies. I'm talking about movies too, books. Look at Harry Potter. People stood online to get Harry Potter's book. Yo, it's crazy. Same thing with comic books. Free comic book day, people are online wrapped around the stores. So stories, whether it's comic books, whether it's novels, whether it's movies, hell, television. Look at Luke Cage crashing the internet. Not because of, somebody's viral video of them having sex. This was a TV show. And, not to mention like all other kinds of TV shows that do incredible things. So whether it is anything like that, I mean, Netflix is incredible. This whole term of binging, just staying in and watching stuff is ridiculous. I know people that binge a whole series, 11 hours straight, just because, the stories are so important. So anyway, marketing. When does it start? How do I start marketing? And I know I rambled, but I want you to understand the importance of it. Marketing to me starts at the title. When I think of a story, I immediately think of a title. I actually say, when I thought of, give you an example, right? When I thought of my first movie, Holla If I Kill You, I thought of 4 titles, actually 5, right? I remember when I was on the phone with my friend Tina, right? And we was talking, and I said, I need a real catchy title. So I came out with Holla If I Kill You. No story. Holla If I Kill You. Gold Digger Killer. No story. It just sounded gangster, right? I knew of this place called Negro Mountain, so I was thinking horror. I was going to different angles. It happened on Negro Mountain. That just came out. Just like that, right? Then I had another one. I was thinking of Gold Digger Killer, so I was thinking, give some ladies some run. I thought of Rashida the Zombie Killer. It just rolled off, and now here I am in 2018. I wrote the last of those stories in 2016. Rashida the Zombie Killer being the last one. It came out in 2017. So, and all of those are succeeding. Why? Well, I thought of it before I learned the value of it. My first film, Holla If I Kill You, came out, 6 years before I started really considering writing as writing books as a passion. The distributor started telling me, well, this title will do this title will do that. And the distributor talked in this language of titles. And he said, that's a great title. I don't even know if I corrected him. I wanted to say, don't you mean movie? Didn't you watch it? Don't you mean story? It isn't a good story? He kept talking title. And talking to distributors, they get straight to the point. You could have a good story. You could have an excellently edited. But if the title sucks, or if the title doesn't say anything about, is not intriguing, you really have to work hard. You better have Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson can, or a big name actor or a big name writer, they could come up with nothing. Samuel Jackson in nothing. People would be like, oh shoot, Tom Cruise in nothing. And people will see it. Who's the top? Tiffany Haddish in nothing. James Patterson's nothing. Reed, you know what I'm saying? Nothing. But if you have a title, people don't even know who made it. They don't even care who the writer is. You understand? People were ready to see Black Panther before Ryan Coogler was in it. Okay, they knew Chadwick Boseman because, of course, he was Black Panther. But it was really about who the character was, what the story was. So many movies, you don't know who wrote them. You just know they're hot 28 days later. So many movies are just hot stories. I like Sucker Punch. That was good. So the titles jump at you. You understand? There's a reason why, iRobot did better than the other tellings of that story. I Am Legend, with Will Smith. They've changed stories, just changed titles just to sell the story better. So titles is important. Then, you have your visualization of it, be it the cover, whether it's a comic book, movie, poster, or the book cover. That's also important. Don't cheese that. Then your story. Your story itself is a marketing tool. So whether it's, comic books, unless you go to like Diamond and they have the little blurb at the catalog, the Diamond catalog, they have the little description blurb in there. But film is the description. Films even have it really short because they have the tagline. Tagline for mine is Negro Mountain is a place where bad things happen to bad people. The new movie that I have, The Death Pledge. The Death Pledge. If you don't respect the dead won't respect you. So you got to have, simple taglines like that because it helps, not just for movies. It can help a comic book and it can help a book to have taglines. But your description is like everything. In a movie, you even get another one. You get the trailer. You understand? In comic books, you get a preview. You get preview pages. May the first Saturday in May, just go pick up these comic books. They're free. It's called Free Comic Book Day. Every first Saturday in May, go to a local comic book store. Get yourself some free comic books because in the free comic book, they give you, it's almost like a trailer or a clip of the movie because that is what they're using to pitch the full series to you. They're introducing the character, whatever it is. Sometimes, in 2015, a lot of the comic book companies used the first story in the series as a free comic book giveaway to reintroduce the character. It's the trailer. That trailer is important. I don't care what your story is about. Forget that story. You've got to figure out how to do it. And sometimes in your attempt to think of it as marketing, you come up with a better title, right? Because that's important. It focuses you on what the story is actually about, because sometimes the story can be about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Black Panther could have been called The Day of Wakanda Got Invaded. You know what I'm saying? Or Battle for Wakanda. And that wouldn't have been horrible for a comic book, that superhero story that had a lot of heat coming into it. But no, they needed to go hard. It's about Black Panther. Black Panther, that's the name of the movie. Keep it simple. So just remember, when you're thinking of marketing, it all comes down to the very beginning. Your title, your tagline, the back cover description. That's what books use, that back cover description. Your preview pages, if it's a comic book. Your cover art. All of that is important and all of that is useful. And then, when you start writing your press kit and all that stuff, you have things to go, you have things to use, but that's another machine. So, press kit and a press release, you can actually think of that stuff after you write the story. But in the creation process, you need to include understanding your title. That's the first thing. And then your story. But we'll get into that because I talk a lot about story. So thank you for checking me out. 14 minutes is good. Peace.